The 11-4 Los Angeles Rams taking on the 6-9 Atlanta Falcons. This game kicks off at 5:15 Pacific time. That's LA time from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters on the call. Salters, of course, on the sideline. For you bettors out there, -8.5 for the Rams and -450 on the money line. The over-under sitting at 49.5. So they've got about 20 to 30 for this game. The books do. I put 30 to 21 because it just feels like that kind of just feels right in my brain. Totally checks out that the game would end that way. I don't know if I'm going too deep into that, but it's just like, yeah, 30 to 21. It's like, yeah, that feels so real, man. I don't know if they can put up 21, but Rams putting up 30 feels like a for sure thing. And no distribution map again this week as Monday Night Football. It's everywhere. Just turn on a TV. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you need to be able to watch this game, actually. Probably like 4 different subscriptions, which is cool. Let's take a look at our pants picks here. The game that is sweeping the nation. Your mom plays. I don't know why you don't. It's an absolute blast. It is the most fun game ever. The Rams are in their bone jerseys for this week, though. And this is the final bone game of the season. And if the rumors are true that the Rams have filed paperwork to change their uniforms next year, it does also feel very real that the bone uniforms may be phased out after this year, meaning that this could be the very final game that the Rams wear their bone jerseys in ever. They are my personal favorites as far as what we currently have. They are absolutely my favorite jersey that we've got. I imagine that we'd introduce a yellow, which would quickly become my favorite, which is good news. But bone is looking like it's going to be phased out. We haven't really even worn the pants that much this year. Now, of course, we have worn the bone pants 2 times with Royal jerseys, and then 2 times each with the bone jerseys as well. In fact, the Rams have not done a different color pants with the bone jersey in a few years. So it checks out that we would wear bone pants, but I'm still going because we're in bone. I'm still going with soul, man. That's my favorite combo that the Rams have right now. Royal helmet, bone jersey, soul pants, I think is absolute fuego, the fuegness for sure. We got Peo Peo is going with the Royal, and then Tuna and Rams House both going with Bones. So I think we have somebody in fan quesos going with the pants picks as well, but I don't remember those offhand. So we'll have to get to that a little bit later. And Falcons, by the way, in their throwbacks. So that's actually one of the reasons I think that the Rams won't go all one color with the bone, because the Falcons are going to be rocking red helmets with black jerseys, white pants, which, I mean, I don't want to be too much of a homer on my uniform combo here, but it does feel like with red, black, white, that if we did Royal, Bone, Soul, that would be just a pinnacle uniform combo on field. You know what I mean? And, as the leader of the Bone Jersey fan group, which I do feel very comfortable that I am, I think that I should get the combo here. They should give me my favorite combo if we're going to phase out the bone. That's it. History of this matchup. This is the 82nd all-time meeting between these two. The Rams do lead the all-time series 49-30-2. So the Rams going for their 50th all-time win over the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. Both ties happened, by the way, in just one game, just one game in between them. In a series that spans 59 years, both ties happened just 10 months apart from each other. That was November of 1970, September of 1971. I just found that rather interesting. The most recent game between these two, September 18th of 22, that was a 31-27 victory for the Rams in a year that there wasn't that many of them. So thank you, Atlanta. Appreciate you. First ever game between these two came on September 11th of 1966. That was a 19-14 win by the Rams. The Rams have won the last 2 versus the Falcons, but the Falcons won the previous 5 against the Rams. Rams did win the first 7 against the Falcons, so it's been a very streaky series if you look at the history of it. There's only a couple times in there where they go back and forth, but it does seem like some streaks for sure. So hopefully the Rams can add to their 2 that they've got right now. The 2 playoff games versus the Falcons have won those both. So we had the wild card game. That was the first year that McVay was the Rams head coach. That was his first playoff game. That game played at the Coliseum. Absolutely amazing. That to have that game be, after not having a playoff game for so long was absolutely awesome. Speaking of not having a playoff game for so long, the last playoff game before that one, January 15th of 2005. So 12 years in between these football games. That was a 47-17 win by the Falcons. That was that Michael Vick, Dunn, and Duckett, TJ Duckett. Yeah, man, that was crazy, dude. Work done. Man, that run game was absolutely just incredible at that time, though, man. And I remember the Falcons went down and scored, and then I think it was Kevin Curtis that caught a deep ball he was kind of going across the center there and ended up scoring on that play. And I was like, oh man, we got a real shot here. We just won against the Seahawks the week before. It's like, dude, we could do this, man. This is gonna be good. And then did not go well the rest of the day. So pretty cool stuff there. Obviously, a lot of stuff that we're looking for in this game. We're not done yet. I think we ain't done yet. Rams are looking to get their footing heading into the postseason. Obviously, that loss last week was not one of those killers. It's not a season killer. It's not even a motivational killer in my mind. It's currently the number one seed in the NFC. You were at their house in December in weather, and it went to overtime, and you lost by one. Could be so much worse. I think that the Rams actually played really, really good football against a really, really good football team. So that game could have gone either way. Truly believe that. It's just a bummer to see that, Sam Darnold was the one that was able to march that ball down. That's the best he's ever looked against us, was that overtime drive. So I guess I'll take it. Law of averages means he's not going to do that again for like another 8 years. So that's good news. But they also could help their own first-round pick with a win over the Falcons. The pick is currently 11th right now. The Falcons traded their first-round pick to the Rams last year, part of that trade for Terrence Ferguson. The Rams moved out of the first round, still were able to get their guy. But currently that pick is 11th, and I'm sure it's going to fit between 8 and 16. I have not done math on that, and that is a decent gap. I understand that. But with 2 games to go, we're still splitting hairs with draft position either way. I'll say that much, whether it's 8 to 16. The difference in those picks is not as big as you think it is. I think that I don't go 1 to 10. I go 1 to 12 just because of the number of teams that are in the league. That's kind of how my brain works. But it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Aaron Donald went in that gap, just saying. So it's certainly possible. Pick cannot get higher than 8, though, even if the Falcons lose out. The best that they can do, I imagine, is 8. And then it's really unlikely to be lower than 16 as well. The Rams' biggest move right now is through these last 2 games is just to stay healthy. Just get through these games healthy. You're going to the playoffs already. You're probably not going to win your division. You can still, and I don't want to make it sound like, well, we can't win the division. We're not going to do it. Anything like that. I don't want it to sound like I'm not confident in this football team or anything like that, but let's be real, man. We're going to the playoffs anyway. It doesn't even matter anymore, man. It's like, I feel like that's kind of the vibe that the team is giving us right now. It feels like Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. It's like, who cares where it's at, when it's at? Put the ball down. Let's play some ball. Let's play, man. Like, what are you doing? So that's kind of the energy that the team is given. So I'm just kind of following suit on that. And that's also that totally fits into my fandom and how I watch anyway. It's like, I don't care, man. Like, yeah, sure, it would be cool to have the number 1 seed. But first of all, my win is Rams games happening. And Rams getting a 1 seed is awesome, and I love it. And I would never complain about that one time in my life. But that means we get 1 less Rams game. And that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. So, I mean, take that for how you will. But either way, healthy is the main concern here. If we can win the division, obviously awesome. If we get the number 1 seed, obviously that's absolutely awesome. It's more important to me to come out healthy. I would rather lose these 2 games and have everybody healthy going into the playoffs than win these 2 games and we're dealing with a Jimmy situation. Puka's at I don't want to. I'll put that in the universe here. Okay, there's a wood desk, but I don't want to put any of that out there. But I'm just saying I would rather health than wins the rest of the way out. We're already in the playoffs. We're already guaranteed. We already have our ticket to the dance, all right? So we just need to make sure that we get there, all right? You don't want to blow a tire on the way to the dance, and then you're trying to, you're calling AAA. You don't want to have that happen, all right? So let's just get through this healthy. Number 1 seed, it's not impossible, but it does feel a little bit out of reach, considering we don't control our own destiny. I think that's kind of where my brain's going with it all, is that we don't have the say. But it's also not official yet that the Rams are shutting down Devontae Adams for the rest of the season. It does feel real. It does feel like something that could certainly happen. But we have not gotten official word from the team. I know that there are Rams publications that saying that is going to happen, and it very well might. I don't want to say for sure. Like I don't have like that inside knowledge of like, oh no, that's a lie. but it was a little bit premature because we haven't got confirmation on that. On the Falcons side here, they have won their last 2 games, both of them on the road, so they're coming back feeling pretty hot. I was in Tampa and in Arizona, and a fun little interesting tidbit here is the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank. He's brought in a third-party firm that is called Sportology, and it is to analyze the franchise and kind of see like where it's not going as well as they need it to be. And I think that from what I've seen on Reddit and stuff like that, and the Atlanta Falcons groups and all that, is that it's leading Falcons fans to think that Raheem Morris may not get a third season, that he could be fired before or after the season ends. And in a sense of like some analytics coming in and saying like you need to get somebody better here, or you need to go an offensive coach here, you need to like something along those lines, or just the fact that if they're looking, even if they win these last 2 games, they match their record from last year, so no improvement from year 1 to year 2 for Raheem Morris. So a lot of people thinking that he could be out. And this has led to Rams fans kind of reaffirming their confidence in a potential return for Raheem Morris if Chris Shula does indeed get a head coaching job, which we do feel very confident he's at least going to get a bunch of interviews. I would imagine that these teams that already have openings are going to bring him in to at least have that conversation. It does feel like if there's a coach on the Rams that would be getting calls for a head coach, it's Chris Shula and it's Aubrey Pleasant. Those are the 2 that I'm worried about losing. I don't want to lose them, especially Aubrey. But if we lose Chris Shula, it does feel like somebody could either get promoted from within, or we could bring back in somebody like Raheem to do a good job there. So we'll see. We'll see. We don't want to go off season yet till it's off season time. You know what I mean? So there's that. Let's take a look at some milestones here. Sean McVay, we're going to start with, needs 1 more win to reach 100. We could have talked about this last week. We didn't, but there's only 2 other head coaches in history that have hit 100 wins before their 40th birthday. Tell me if you know these names: Curly Lambeau and George Halas. It's pretty good company, all right? Matthew Stafford, he passed it a few weeks ago, but worth mentioning that Stafford is now 5th in games played at the quarterback position for the Rams. I absolutely love that. With this information, I feel comfortable saying that Matthew Stafford is the best quarterback in Rams history. Fight me. Bring it on. If he wins another championship and an MVP, I think that does solidify a few things as far as his cementing of his place in Rams history as well as NFL history, I would assume. He does need 7 touchdown passes to tie Jim Everett for 2nd in Rams history and is currently 12th in interceptions. If the season ended today, Stafford's 41-79 would be 8th most in a single season in Rams history. And with a 300-yard game, that would put him at 44-79. That would end the week in 5th. Rams' record is 21 Stafford, so present-day Stafford would need to average 354 yards over the next 2 games to reach that. At his current average, which is 278.6, he would end with 47-36, which would be 3rd most in a single season in Rams history. So he's on pace to end in 3rd. It would also be 42nd most in NFL history at his current pace. He's 1 touchdown pass to tie the Rams' single-season record at 41. That's tied with 21 Matthew Stafford and 1999 Kurt Warner. He's on pace for 45.3, so about 45 there, per his 2.6 touchdowns per game average. 40 would be tied for 19th most all time, and on pace for that 45-ish would be tied for 8th most in a single season in NFL history. Stafford's 40-5 ratio right now is absolutely unheard of in Rams history, with only 5 interceptions, the most touchdown passes than any quarterback has ever had with the Rams in a single season with 5 picks is 16, and that was 2000 Trent Green. The best ratio with 7 interceptions is 28 touchdowns, and that was 2017 Jared Goff, where we played Atlanta. That's before. 5 interceptions would end the season tied at 121st most in a single season in Rams history. Nice. Kyron Williams needs 6 rushing yards to tie 2015 Todd Gurley for 25th most in a single season in Rams history. His other numbers not necessarily creeping into those conversations. Puka Nacua, though, he's got to stay with me here, all right? So he needs 3 receiving yards to tie Marshall Faulk for 12th in Rams history. That's career. He needs 35 receptions to tie Red Phillips for 12th most in Rams history. So that's receptions. Previous one was receiving yards. Needs 3 receptions to tie 2003 Torrey Holt for 3rd most in a single season in Rams history. You staying with me here? Needs 5 receptions to tie 1995 Isaac Bruce for 2nd most in a single season in Rams history. Let's see here. He needs 43 receiving yards to tie 2000 Torrey Holt for 4th most in Rams history. Needs 104 receiving yards to tie 2003 Torrey Holt for 3rd most in a single season in Rams history. 189 receiving yards to tie 95 Isaac Bruce for 2nd most in Rams history. Are you with me there? So if he gets 100 yards a game, then he's going to end in 2nd for receiving yards in a single season. So he's absolutely crushing that. He does need more than that to reach Cooper Kupp, which the 21 Cooper Kupp, which was an absolute superhero. So we'll keep on pace with this going into next week. I'm hoping that next week it'll make more sense. Hopefully that wasn't too convoluted for you. And if the season ended today, Nakua's 1592 would be 34th most in league history for a single season. He's on pace, though, for 1820. That'd be 5th most in league history. Single season. JSN is currently on pace for, currently has, 1637. Nakua is 45 yards behind him and has made quite a leap in the Offensive Player of the Year conversations, although it does feel a lot like people are just already locking in JSN for that. But it does also feel like Puka Nakua is going to end with more receptions and yards. Very real thing there. Take a look at the only connection that I could find here. Actually, I didn't look through the rest of the coaching staff, but head coach Raheem Morris, man, that's the biggest one. I probably should look at the coaching staff. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do it. We're going to see if there's any extras in here that the heck is their website? If I could spell, that'd be cool. AtlantaFalcons.com. All right. We're just going to go over to their team here, just look at their coaching, because Raheem Morris obviously is the biggest one as far as the history there, because former defensive coordinator, former Super Bowl champion. So we also got Zach Robinson as the offensive coordinator. I believe he was position coach at the Rams at some point. Let's see. We've got maybe nobody else. I'm kind of see here. Lance Schulters, that name at least sounds familiar. TJ Yates is the passing game coordinator. That's cool. Ken Zambisi, I believe he was with us at some point, right? That would make Steve Scarnecchia. All right, so I'm going to unconfidently say just Raheem Morris. Good stuff there, man. So obviously, these two teams know each other because of that connection. Raheem Morris and Sean McVay know each other very well. So the game planning of this one is certainly going to be something to keep our eyes on. I think it's rather exciting stuff to kind of dive into the fact that the brains that are going into it. It's like not only players, obviously, and individual efforts play such a major factor, mistakes and obviously all that stuff, but just the game plan of what am I trying to take away from this guy, and from McVay's standpoint of where am I trying to attack? What's he going to try to take away from me? How can I counter that? I think halftime is going to be a major game changer in this one. I kind of anticipate that this game will be a lot of feeling each other out for the first half, and I'm kind of thinking like we're going to see like a 10-3 halftime. And then outside of that, I think that the second half is where we see our scoring. So that's kind of where my brain's at as far as the head coach versus head coach battle, Sean McVay versus Raheem Morris. Let's get into the matchup here, though. We're going to start with the Rams offense going against the Falcons defense. Rams on offense now, rocking the number 1 unit in the league, putting up an average of 405 a game, while the Falcons defense is middle of the road, giving up about 345. Passing the football, second league here, 270 a game for the Rams, while the Falcons D is 8th against the pass, giving up about 195. Rushing the ball, Rams keep climbing up in these ranks here, 5th right now, putting up over 126 a game, while the Falcons give up over 128. That's 25th in the league, so low end there. Average points being put up. Rams getting back up to the top spot there, 30.5 per game, while the Falcons give up 24. That is 21st in the league. And on third down, the Rams convert 38%. That's 22nd, so could do better there. And the Falcons give up 40.7, which is 20th in the league. So obviously, the main thing that we're looking at in those numbers here, the thing that jumps out to us is the fact that the Falcons defense is fine, but not incredible. All right. So we can certainly attack these guys Oh, excuse me. And the ground game is certainly something that, I mean, we're in December football. I know we're like in Atlanta inside on a Monday night game, but it's one of those things where we're December football now, and we're also just trying to stay healthy and make it to the playoffs. We're trying to do two things in this game, which is help our own chances at, getting into the top four in the NFC, while also simultaneously helping out our own draft pick. I'll say that for that draft pick, that's where I care the least, because again, the difference I think between 8 and say 14, very minimal. I understand that the value as far as a trade goes is different in that sense, but if players that you're taking between 8 and 12, 14, 16, they're all about the same. I kind of separated always of 1 to 4, and then 5 to 12, 12 to 20, and then the rest is kind of where my brain separates draft picks. If you can get into the top four, you're looking good. Outside of that, if you're anywhere between that 5 and 12 range, doesn't really matter. You're fine in anywhere in there. And then again, from that 13 to 20 range, again, all about the same. You're also in that range. You're seeing teams pick to pick for needs and pick for, just like, okay, well, or opposite, where they're just going like, well, we don't really need a corner, but that's the best guy on our board for sure. We don't pick again till tomorrow, so let's go ahead and snag them. So you get a lot of interesting calls in the first round of the draft. I will say that if they win, in week 18 and that pick drops to 12 or something like that, it's not the end of the world. In fact, it's completely okay. I imagine that we trade the pick anyway. So I'm obviously for values. It'd be cool to get it as high as possible, but that's not something that I'm necessarily putting any thought energy into. And doesn't matter because doesn't matter how bad we want that pick to be higher. That does not mean the Falcons will play worse just because we want it more. It doesn't matter. So either way, that's kind of what I'm looking at there is for the Rams offense to be able to just get that ground game rolling, get out of here healthy, get out with a win, and head back home to wrap up the regular season, and hopefully will not be the final time at SoFi Stadium. Some players here on the Falcon side that we're keeping our eyes on. We're going to start with safety Jesse Bates III. Obviously, awesome safety. Dude flies around. We've seen him with Cincinnati. So, I mean, talented, flies all over the place, man. He plays that great center field, so certainly a guy that can impact your game. Defensive tackle Brandon Dorless, solid pressure in the middle of the line for Atlanta. He definitely has a good time stuffing runs and such. He gets off blocks well, and he kind of just muddies up the middle, so that's somebody to watch for sure. And then linebacker Caden Ellis, replacement for Nate Landman. This is his third year as a member of the Falcons. He is kind of the one that's slotted in once Nate Landman did leave for the Rams, and I would say he's fine, but Landman is blatantly like going from Landman to Ellis has blatantly been a drop off for them. Similar sense, opposite sense for us, where we saw going from a Roseboom, who's certainly not a bad player. I understand a lot of people didn't like him and stuff like that, but definitely not a bad player by any means. But we did improve by going to Landman. So they took a step down going from Landman to Ellis. We took a step up going from Roseboom to Landman. So good stuff there. Best one-on-one that I'm watching here is I'm going to go with D. Alford versus Rams slot receivers, which could include names like Puka Nacua. All right. So I think the D. Alford, I mean, he's year 4. He's always been with the Falcons. Very good nickel corner. But the Rams are able to do things with their formations that really mess it up for a nickel. So this is a kind of a perfect game to see how good is D. Alford. This is kind of one of those games that we kind of really look into D. Alford and see what's he got, man. Because let's be real, corners are something the Rams, and I know my brain's already on of like, well, who's going to be available, who's coming out, like who do we have as far as potential free agents, stuff like that. I'm already looking at that because it feels like that's a position group that the Rams are going to improve on. And D. Alford is one of those names that kind of pops up. I don't know his contract situation, but certainly somebody that I would like to go after. So somebody I'm kind of keeping an eye on in this game. For the Rams side, our 3 to see, we're going to start with running back Kyron Williams. He is currently first in the NFL in rushing success rate. That is expected yards per down. So expected yards on first down to make second manageable. Expected yards on second down to make third down reasonable. All that stuff. He is first. Blake Corum is second. We're crushing as far as efficiency when it comes to the ground game, especially lately. Kyren Williams gonna need a big day from these backs anyway. Kyren Williams, I've been talking about Blake because he's absolutely on fire right now, and he's kind of become our home run hitter. But something tells me Kyron's gonna be the one to really show up in this game. I have a bet in there for a 3 touchdown day from Kyren. We'll see what happens, and yeah, we'll just let that ride, man. We'll let it ride. Next up, I'll go with wide receiver Konate Mumpfield. And the reason I'm putting Mump in here is because I expected to see a little bit more Mump action last week with Devontae Adams out. It's one of those players that I don't even think Rams fans fully understand how good this guy could be. Watching him play is one of those where it's like, oh, we did the thing again, where we get a guy late and everybody's like, oh, okay, there's some guy with a weird name to pronounce. Does it matter? Turns out, dude, yeah, it does. And I would imagine I would say going into 27 is where Mump is probably looking at being like our number 2 or something like that. I just feel like a really good trajectory coming out of Mump. And with Devontae Adams still being out for this game, I anticipate that we could see some action from him, man. I last week I did Mump / Ferg, so like an and or situation. And then Ferg should have had 2 touchdowns. That first one, don't really know what happened there. Not a big blame the ref guy, but come on, dude. Justin was not okay. We don't need to fully get into that, but Ferg it was kind of the beneficiary last week, and I think that Mump is going to be a little bit more involved this week. The Rams do have a lot of really good tight ends, but also let's remember that the Falcons actually play tight ends very well. So that's why I think that we could see a little bit more 11-12 this week rather than that 13 as heavy this week, simply based on the defense that we're playing against. So Mump, I think you could have a good day. And then we'll also go with wide receiver Puka Nacua. He does lead the NFL in receptions. He is second in the NFL in yards, just 45 behind JSN, but he's 6 back on touchdowns. Adams does lead the NFL with 14, and he may not get more, but that's crazy. But I guess in fairness, Puka Nacua could reach that. He could, technically. Triple Crown Puka Nacua. I at least like the idea that he's going to ruin the season for JSN he was looking at a Triple Crown earlier in the year. It looks like that Puka Nacua is going to steal 2 of those away from him, which is pretty sick. And then JSN's not even going to get the touchdowns. You're going to tell me, you're going to stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me that JSN is Offensive Player of the Year when Puka has more receptions, probably going to end with more yards, and Devontae's got more touchdowns? How many, dude? How many? I don't know. That's where I'm at with this. But Puka Nacua, obviously, that dude's been on an absolute tear right now. My fantasy football namesake, Puka Nacua, my fantasy football team now. I'm in the championships this week. I'm absolutely on fire for it. I threw in Krosky Merritt like 15 minutes before kickoff, and I feel great about that. But Puka Nacua, he is the namesake of my fantasy football team, which is Apocalypse Now. Apocalypse Now. Oh, incredible. Anyway, my biggest key here for the Rams offense going against that Falcons defense, I'm going to say run the rock, get back home with win number 12. It's kind of where I'm at right now is like just don't hurt yourself, all right? Just handle business in Atlanta, come back home to LA, and let's see what madness we can create for Week 18 as far as potentially 4 teams still fighting for a 1 seed, which is crazy. Well, I imagine it'll be 3. I imagine we'll get down to 3 teams playing for the 1 seed. But either way, just come back with win number 12, and let's throw our hat in that ring, man. Let's see if we can get it done, man. Kyren and Blake should be heavily figured into this game plan. I would fully anticipate that. Falcons have had trouble all year against the run and are in the bottom portion of the league when it comes to the defending the ground attack. So it's certainly an area that the Rams could attack. And, I mean, what are they? They're 25th against the run. I mean, I like the could you just imagine if they had a guy like, I don't know, Nate Landman or something? I just think that would go really well for them. Let's flip over to the other side here. Rams defense going against that Falcons offense. The Falcons offense, middle of the road here, putting up about 350 a game, while the Rams 18th in the league, giving up about 345 a game. Passing the football, again, middle of the road, 216 a game for that Falcons offense, while the Rams give up 221. That is 19th. Rushing the football, 8th in the league for Bajan and the gang there, putting up almost 125 a game, while the Rams give up 105.7. That's 12th. And average points being put up, 20.5 for that Falcons offense. That's 25th in the league. Rams give up 19.9. That is 6th. That is a far drop from the 17 points last week, but that's okay. And third down conversion rate, a third of them for the Falcons offense. It's tied for 29th near the bottom there. And 36.1 the Rams defense gives up. That's tied for 7th in the league. So obviously the numbers that jump out to us there. Again, the ground attack. Bijan Robinson, absolutely phenomenal running back in the league. I mean, one of the best that the NFL has representing him right now. Obviously, as far as the air attack goes, with Kirk Cousins at the helm, I'm not sure if I'm necessarily that worried about it. I think that he could. I mean, he's experienced enough and not a dumb quarterback, so he can certainly move the football down the field on this team, and especially the Rams don't rank high in getting off the field right away. So Kirk Cousins could absolutely give some long drives in there that could create some unfavorable situations, because obviously in this kind of game, a game against a team like the Falcons, like they could very much just try to ruin our day. That could be their whole goal, is like, let's just make it suck for them. And we do that by Kirk Cousins just getting to third down and converting, so we just want to be able to get off the field. Obviously we're tied for 7th when it comes to third down conversion rate, and pretty low in points. I don't think the Falcons are going to ruin our averages there. I do imagine that we can help ourselves when it comes to those averages, giving up almost 20 a game right now, 6th in the NFL. So hopefully we can kind of tailor that a little bit. But as long as we have more points than them at the end, then I'm pretty indifferent on the rest of it, I'll be honest. Opposing players to watch, we're going to start with running back Bijan Robinson. He is currently 5th in the NFL in rushing yards. And just a fun note here, because Bijan Robinson, we know he's sick. He is one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. He's an absolute monster. And in the Falcons stadium, they have that camera that's on the top that does like that crazy view where it's like his head's still and then everything else is moving. Hilarious view, but it's also really cool. But he has currently twice as many fumbles as Kyren Williams does. He has only 150 more rushing yards on a lot less attempts, and also has 4 less rushing touchdowns. Your Pro Bowl NFC running back, Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts is up next year. Obviously, great tight end. Has kind of been one of those where it's, maybe the expectations were a little too high for him, but I think he's kind of settling into where he fits into the NFL, which is not one of the league's best tight ends, but is one of the league's very productive tight ends. Kyle Pitts doing a very good job this season. He needs 146 receiving yards to hit 1,000 on the season. And wide receiver Drake London, definitely a threat through that air attack. I think more so with Penix. I don't know if numbers would even back that up or not, but I just feel like in my mind when I was watching the Atlanta Falcons this year, he was better when Penix was on the field. But again, Kirk Cousins certainly can still get it done. Drake London needs 163 yards to hit 1,000 on the season. So they're all right in that range there. We'll go here on the best one-on-one. I'm just going to go with Jake Matthews versus Jared Verse. I love this matchup here, man. The veteran Matthews from that crazy Matthews family. Actually looking into seeing Jake Matthews still playing. It's like, because I'm a Texas A&M fan, gig him, and it was one of those, I was like, dang, he's still going, dude. Like, I remember when he was picked really high, was that like 12 years ago, something like that. It's been a bit, but yeah, it was kind of one of those where it's like, wow, I can't believe he's still playing, man. Like, and it's not that long ago, obviously, but it's just one of those, it's like, I remember watching him play in college, man. It feels like so long ago. I was a child. That's crazy. But I obviously, he's taken on the maniac that is Jared Verse, and I'm starting to feel like we're at a spot right now where I'm feeling like Jared Verse is about to start taking over some football games, and sorry about it, Kirk. Oh, you know how many times I'm going to yell you like that this weekend or on Monday during the week? On the worst day of the week, Monday, I'm going to yell, you like that so many times. Every time. I hope so, at least. I hope it doesn't get turned on to me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? 3 to see here on the Rams defense side. I'm going to start with linebacker Nate Landman, former Atlanta Falcon just last year. The biggest defensive addition for the Rams this season. I know Puna Ford came over. That's obviously a massive addition as well. But no impact bigger on the defensive side as far as a new addition than Nate Landman coming over. Year 1, he gets the captain patch. Year 1, he gets the green dot. Year 1, he improves our run defense like crazy. Year 1, he's just pulling these out of nowhere. It's awesome to see, man. So we're thrilled for Nate Landman. Already extended him. He signed a 1-year prove-it deal. We've already got him for 3 more than that. His biggest contract of his NFL career. We love to see it, man. He's currently second in forced fumbles, by the way. He's just one behind Joey Bosa. So Better watch out, Bijan. Calling for you, man. Next up, we'll go with safety Cam Curl. He is 7th in the NFL in solo tackles, so he's still absolutely crushing souls out there. He's flying around. He's a solid tackler. It seems like when he's got his mitts on somebody, they ain't getting away, and that's good news. You see like a Cam Curl holding somebody up, and then Nate coming in, flying in with the – it's so sick, man. I'm loving this defense right now, actually. Even though we give up yards and stuff like that, it just feels like when we need to attack, we do. I mean, I realized that last week that wasn't necessarily the case, but can we also just sidebar mention that 2 of the Rams' losses, 2 of our 4 losses, are division games against really good teams on a short week, Thursday nights? Can we stop getting divisional games on a Thursday night? Schedule makers burned us like crazy this year anyway, so can we just stop with that part of it, I think. But yeah, 2 of those losses, half of our losses have come on short weeks against really good teams in our division. And those games went so crazy too. So take that what you will. And last up here, I'm going to go with Emmanuel Forbes Jr. He is currently 5th in the NFL in passes defensed. And he did have a little bit of a stretch in there where he kind of was maybe struggling a little bit more than we had been used to seeing for Emmanuel Forbes. Last week, I think he had a really good day. He made some plays last week, and I'm hoping, going against a guy like Drake London, that he's just able to shut it down, man. So Emmanuel Forbes, I think, is in a spot right now where I think that he's better than we think. I think that he's better than he thinks. I think he's better than the coaches think. I just feel like there's something with Emmanuel Forbes where we do not yet know the potential. We don't know where he can cap out. I don't know how far that floor is down. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like where in Aaron Donald was, like the sky's the limit, but even at his worst, he's still like the third best player in the entire NFL, like at his worst, when he was having a bad day. I don't know how far that floor is down for Emmanuel Forbes, if he could just fall off and then he's just like looking for work, you know what I mean? Like trying to sign to a team. I have no idea how far that goes down, but I also think that his ceiling is so high, we have no clue where it's at right now. I think that he has the skills to become one of the best corners in the entire NFL. I just want to see him actually do it. I would say it's a confidence issue, but I don't even know if that's true or not, man. I would have to like talk to him and figure that out. But either way, I think Emmanuel Forbes Jr. is an incredible player. And I think that this week in primetime is one of those weeks where we see that kind of shakeout. As far as my key here, I'm going to just say that just to get after Kirk Cousins, don't let Bijan obviously completely kill you. But if Kirk Cousins is the one that's dominating, then so be it. You know what I mean? It just feels like he's one of those guys that we should be able to get after. Feels like one of those guys that we should be able to. Feels like one of those teams that we should be able to rock a 4-man pass rush with and still get home. Drop back the rest of everybody and sit back in coverage. Hopefully we can get some picks that way. And just get some pressure into the face of Kirk Cousins. But again, just don't let Bijan kill you. And again, if Kirk is the one that's on fire and he's just having one of those Kirk days, so be it. It happens, man. But I still feel like the Rams can win this game, even if Kirk is having one of his Kirky days, But Bijan is obviously one of those guys that certainly a tough task to bring him down. But that is your game preview. Rams taking on the Atlanta Falcons Monday Night Football, our last primetime game of the regular season. Obviously, we'll get at least one playoff game of action from our LA Rams. But this game kicks off 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. It's LA time from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so make sure you check it out. And we'll also be live on Tuna and the Sheriff. We'll be both live on December 26th. I'm not sure when you're seeing this. But we're doing kind of a longer stream, a little bit of a season outlook, or like season in review / playoff outlook kind of thing. We'll have in some guests and stuff like that, so that'll be an absolute blast. That'll be on the Ram Showcase Facebook page as well as the First to Tuna podcast YouTube channel. So make sure you check us out there. And then Monday morning, 7 a.m. LA time, same place, we'll be doing our full game preview for that night. So check us out there. And then I'll be doing my pregame live stream again. Naturally, that's what I do. So check us out. Come hang out. It'll be a good time. But that is your game preview. Rams taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Trying to get to win number 12, man. A dozen dubs. That's what we want. Yep.